right. I could talk about sentimental value for a long time. I realized my first kind of discussion on it centered around the narcissistic dad, which is kind of ironic because, that's what happens in narcissistic families, is that everything becomes about the narcissist. But really the story was about the daughters. And there were a number of scenes that I think really captured the essence of the psychological toll growing up with a narcissistic parent takes on a child, and how the abuse actually manifests in our sense of self, in this kind of repression of our authentic self. And that a lot of the trauma of growing up with a narcissistic parent rests in the trauma of what doesn't happen, the trauma of what's not said. And there was scene after scene that was just exquisite acting between the two daughters. I forget the actresses' names, but the characters are Nora and Agnes. And, this scene in particular where, they're juxtaposing the dad's relationship with the starlet who's kind of starring in his movie and his actual daughters, where the starlet gets the compassion, the starlet gets the apology that never comes, right? And so there's this scene set up where the starlet is asking the daughter, about the father, about why she wouldn't work with him, all of these things. And there's this moment that really captures this negotiation that goes on with children of narcissists between our internal authentic self and our external presented self, and what we're conditioned to say and not to say. And that, essentially narcissistic abuse, the sum total is manifested in our relationship to self, in our ability to express our real feelings. I think also the other daughter, Agnes, who's more of the golden child, who kind of, finds safety more in her closeness to the father, the acceptance of the father. The scenes where they're discussing her son's role in the movie, and you can just see her repressing herself. The facial acting in this movie with the two female leads is just out of control good. I mean, they put Nora in fight or flight a couple times in the beginning scene where she's literally running away from the stage. And then also when the dad and the starlet first show up, she literally just takes off and runs. And so there is so much subtlety in this script. There's so much understanding of the psychology of what it is to grow up with a man like this as your father. It was so deeply resonant with me. I'm going to need to rewatch it because it really, like all great art, should make us feel. All cinema, what it's there to do is make us feel. It's there to kind of evoke emotions. And I think this movie in particular, for children of this particular type of narcissistic dad, will really find a lot of freedom and a lot of kind of catharsis in some of the feelings that it brings up. And I really think the woman who played Nora should win the Oscar. I don't put much stock into art contests, but she is out of control good in this, and so is the other daughter.